Today is the big court day for Trump's Georgia election subversion case. Steve Sadow has said that they're going to use the First Amendment to try and protect his free speech. We have some great articles. We have some great video clips. I got to give you just a warning that sometimes these things go on the air and things can change within the courtroom today. So this episode may have a long tail, but always keep checking back to here in Exile, and we'll give you the latest news and truth about the Fani Willis case and what it means to Trump. Welcome to Doug in Exile. I'm Doug TenNapel. This is where the happy patriots are. I try to make the news entertaining. Okay, here we are over at CNN, and I'm just going to read some of this more important stuff. This is judge to consider if Trump can throw out Georgia election subversion case on First Amendment grounds. Here we go. In a motion filed in late 2023, before the unsuccessful efforts by defendants to disqualify Willis from the case emerged, Trump attorney Steve Sadow argued that the peddling of conspiracy theories, this is CNN doing a spin on this, saying peddling of conspiracy theories, okay, that's spin, and claims of widespread voter fraud in the 2020 presidential election were at their core political speech, and therefore Trump should never have been indicted. This is where I hope you can see this case is ginormous. It's not just about this little Fani Willis backwater situation. It's about Trump's free speech. And if they can take Trump's political free speech, what can they do to people, schmoes like us, regular people, where you want to question an election? They can come after you and start indicting you, shutting down your business, even imprisoning you for your political free speech. That's where this goes against the First Amendment and the Constitution. Steve Sadow, I believe, is on very good ground. Some little court case in Fulton County, Georgia, is not allowed to override the Constitution. Quote, the core political speech and expressive conduct alleged in this indictment against President Trump are protected from government regulation and thus criminal prosecution by the state, Sadow wrote. So he's going to something higher than the state. Quote, criminalizing President Trump's speech and advocacy disputing the outcome of the election, while speech endorsing the election's outcome is viewed as unimpeachable, is thus blatant viewpoint discrimination, he added. And I believe Sadow is setting this thing up to go to the Supreme Court if he has to. That's what he's really sowing the seeds of here. A trial date has not been set, but the district attorney still hopes to go to trial before the November election. This is hilarious. Why? Why before the November election? Willis previously asked for the trial to start in August, and they told her fat chance. And she said she may re-up her request. Quote, I'm also realistic that one of the defendants has multiple cases. Oh, you mean Trump going on? And some of them have trial dates that are ahead of ours. So I'm always going to be respectful of sister jurisdictions, she said. Sister. And then just some backfill on this. First Amendment challenges have failed. Previous First Amendment challenges by former Trump co-defendants Kenneth Chesebro and Sidney Powell were unsuccessful. Chesebro and Powell were two of the former president's lawyers who later pleaded guilty in exchange for their testimony and cooperation. They had attempted to have the indictment dismissed under the U.S. Constitution's supremacy clause, but failed. In his denial at the time, McAfee ruled that various case law pointed to facts and evidence needing to be established in a courtroom before a First Amendment challenge can even be considered. So there may be some pressure on McAfee to remain consistent with his Powell and Chesebro findings. But he also doesn't want to be the guy that gets nailed on First Amendment. No one wants that on their history. He wants to be known as a constitutional judge. So now let's get to this hilarious CNN video, which ends up being, they're trying to protect Fani Willis, but it ends up just indicting her. So listen to this.
Two things. One, I think it will be important for people to be able to see it, because that way when Trump comes out and says whatever he's going to say, well, we can say, well, let's go to the tape and see what actually happened. And I actually think with someone like Donald Trump, we need that.
With someone like Donald Trump, we need the video. We need it to be televised. We need the videotape. As if Trump, once again, is not allowed to have a free speech opinion about even the court case. She's going, oh, we need to go to the actual facts because we know what Trump does with all this. Trump is allowed to have his opinion, and she should be championing it It's ironically on the same grounds that she's allowed to have her opinion on CNN. And I'm allowed to have my opinion here on YouTube. Isn't America great? You weirdo. Isn't it America great? You totalitarian communist.
That being said, Fani Willis, I think, has already made herself a character in this saga. She's got to bring it down and stay focused on doing the job of prosecuting this case. I wish she would stop doing interviews.
And like good CNN, they call it the Communist News Network. She's going, Fani Willis, stop doing interviews, bring it down. In other words, put a gag order on yourself. Why do these people go straight to silence? They're like, Fani Willis, do not express your opinion in the news. It's bad for you. You're going to lose. I think it's funny that Fani Willis is being told essentially to zip it by CNN. CNN's a news network. And she's saying, Fani Willis, don't do news. Don't provide us with information outside of the courtroom. You're an embarrassment.
And really focus on just prosecute the case, and be very serious in the courtroom. No flair, nothing fancy, just the fact.
Be serious in a courtroom, because she's been waving documents around and pointing and screaming and acting unprofessional. This is a huge insult to how Fani Willis conducts herself, her lawfare, the way that she carries herself and the way she talks is very unprofessional and very inappropriate to a courtroom. And she's going, tone it down.
No flair, nothing fancy, just the facts.
No flair, nothing fancy, just the facts. So Fani Willis, in saying this, is all flair, just going for the fancy, and is not clear on the facts. This is a huge indictment of Fani Willis. I'll keep you guys posted if there's news on this, because this whole thing could get thrown out just on the First Amendment. I hope it's argued that way. I hope this judge protects all of our free speech on political dissent, political disagreement. It will also be good for YouTube to have this kind of a case established. So it's important. This affects even me, even the things that I can say to you. We're still right here in exile, and we're watching America's Constitution being played out in real life. This is fascinating to me. I hope it's fascinating to you too. Give us a sub, because we still want you in the movement. Let's go all the way to Trump being elected this fall. Let me know in the comments below if you're still on board. Do you still believe that the court system will come out in defense of Trump's First Amendment right? This is where you come in and vote in our comments section. Give us a thumbs up. I'm Doug in Exile.